These are the different basic differentiation rules. First one, the constant rule. Pag sinabi po natin constant function, good examples po niyan, y equals 5, y equals 6, y equals -7. So those are examples of constant functions. Now, how are you going to find the derivative of any constant function? So here is the rule. The derivative of a constant function is always equal to 0. This is the representation. D over dx of c is equal to 0. Yung d over dx po dyan, it represents the derivative. Okay? So actually po, the right way to read that is the derivative of the function with respect to x. So these are the examples. The first one, if f of x is equal to 10, then f prime of x is equal to 0. So 10 there is considered as a constant. So that is why the derivative is 0. Letter B, if h of x is equal to negative square root of 3, then h prime of x is equal to 0. And the third one, g of x is equal to 5 pi, then the derivative of that is still 0. So since pi po dyan is considered as a constant. So that's all for the constant rule. Okay, so let's proceed to the next differentiation rule, which is the identity rule. According to this, the derivative of an identity function is 1. So alin ba yung mga sinasabi nating identity function? So one good example of that, ito, f of x is equal to x. So observe po, para siya maging identity function, yung right side po ng equal sign, this part, so dapat po yung exponent is not greater than 1. And as well as yung numerical coefficient is not also greater than 1. So alone lang po, nag-iisa lang po siya dito. Okay? Ano pa ba mga examples ng identity functions? Halimbawa po, f of p is equal to p. And another example, f of m is equal to m. So, pwede naman pong y. Instead of using f of x, pwede na pong y. Y is equal to t. Or kaya, y is equal to x, probably. So, pwede naman pong ganun. So, this is the representation. D over dx of x is equal to 1. So, itong x po ito represents the identity function. Sorry. So it's always equal to 1. So that's for identity rule. Next, the power rule. So ano pag sinabi nating power po, it pertains to the exponent. Now, what if po yung variable contains an exponent that is greater than 1? So how are you to find its derivative? So ito po yun. If n is a rational number, then the function f of x equals x raised to n is differentiable, and it is denoted by this one. So the derivative of x raised to n with respect to x, that is equal to, ulitin ko po, yung n po dyan, yung exponent, and yan x po, it's the base. Okay? So ang gagawin nyo lang po to find its derivative, you just simply copy its exponent, ilagay po dito, in front of x, and then just copy x, and yung exponent po doon, yung original exponent po, susubtrakan po natin ng 1, which is n minus 1, and then simplify. So yun na po yung derivative ng given function. So let me give you examples of that. Okay, so let's have the examples for the third basic differentiation rule. So find the derivatives of the following. Number 1, f of x is equal to x raised to 5, and the second, f of x is equal to x raised to 10. So let's have the first one. So given the formula, sundin lang po natin dyan. So we're going to identify the value of n. Pag sinabi natin n, given po dun sa formula, ang n po dyan is referring to the exponent. So therefore, ang n po dyan, so ang n is equal to 5. So let's proceed to the formula. Just copy 5. Okay. So this one as value of n, which is 5. And then next, copy x and the exponent, but you're going to subtract 1. So 5x raised to 5 minus 1. And then simplify. So 5x raised to 4. So that's the derivative of this given function. So 5x raised to 4. Okay. Next. So in this second example, visually, n is equal to 10, right? So n is equal to 10. And then let's follow the formula. Copy 10. Okay, the exponent, sabi doon. Tingnan natin po dito. Just copy 10. And then, copy the original function, x raised to 10, but you're going to subtract 1. So 10 minus 1. And then, simplify. So therefore, the derivative of f of x equals x raised to 10 is 10x raised to 9. So that's for the third basic differentiation rule. Now, what if you are given not just x raised to 5, y raised to 10, or halimbawa po, x raised to 11. So, what if hindi po ganyan? Ganito na po. Y is equal to 3x raised to 5. So, meron na pong kasama si x na iba, hindi lang po 1. Okay? May kasama na siyang iba. Good example po yan is 3x raised to 5. So, may more than 1 na po yung numerical coefficient niya po. So, ano pong gagawin natin? Another example, y is equal to negative 5x raised to 8. So, papasok po yan sa next differentiation rule. Okay? So, this one is the fourth differentiation rule, the constant multiple rule. According to this, if f is a differentiable function and c, natin yung ano po, and c, ito po, and c is a real number, then cf is also a differentiable function. So, sana po naintindihan niya. Pero mas madali pong maintindihan siguro using this representation. So, the derivative of this given function, c of f of x, is equal to, all you have to do, just copy the constant. Ito po, yung constant, yung real number outside, ilagay mo po dyan. And then, yung x lang po, containing its exponent, whatever be the exponent of x. So, kunin nyo pong derivative. So, c times the derivative of the x. Nagets nyo po ba? Okay. So, again, bigyan ko kayo ng examples niyan. So, let's have the following examples. So, yan po. I prepared separate examples for that. So, para po itong 1 to 3 na ito ay para na po sa inyo. So, bigay ko ng examples niya. Let's have this one. Pabayaan nyo na po yung ano na yan, yung rectangles na yan. Mamaya, may dahilan kung bakit nandyan yan. So, let's have the first example. Y is equal to 3x raised to 5. So, ang y ano po niyan, ang derivative po niyan is represented by y prime. So, again, ang gagawin nyo lang po, you copy the exponent, which is 5, times, ito po, si constant po nito, numerical coefficient po ng x raised to 5, 3. So, 5 times 3, and then, multiply it to this one. I-apply nyo po yung, ano po, yung power rule. So, 5 times 3 times x raised to 5 minus 1. So, in other words po, kung mayroon pong numerical coefficient that is more than 1 si x something, or x raised to n, i-multiply mo lang po yung exponent doon po sa numerical coefficient. And then just follow yung, yung power rule. So, therefore, simplifying this, so 5 times 3, that is 15x raised to 4. So that is the derivative of this function. Let's have another example. Number 2. Y is equal to negative 5x raised to 8. Again, kapag may exponent po dito, i-multiply mo lang po doon sa numerical coefficient following the law of signs. Okay, so y equals, or y prime is equal to 8, ito pong exponent, times the numerical coefficient, which is negative 5, times x raised to 8 minus 1. And then simplify. So that is why negative 40x raised to 7. So ay, sana po nakuha. So what if? Now what if po combination po nun? Hindi lang po 3x raised to 5, negative 5x raised to 8. What if po combination? The sum and difference of those terms containing these properties or features. So, halimbawa po, y is equal to 6x raised to 4 minus 4x raised to 5 plus 25x raised to 3. So, paano natin yan isa-solve? Paano natin kukunin yung derivative niyan? Okay, so let's proceed to the fourth differentiation rule, the sum rule. So it is also pertaining to the difference kasi po yung principle po ng sum rule is also applicable to the difference. According to this, the derivative of the sum or difference of two differentiable functions is the sum or difference of their derivatives. So very self-explanatory. So this is the representation. So the derivative of these two functions, sum of these two functions is equal to the sum of individual uh, derivative. So f prime of x, so that is the derivative of, derivative of the first function, and the g prime of x, it's the derivative of the second function. So inad lang po natin. And as well as for the difference, so the derivative of the difference of these two differentiable functions is equal to the difference of individual derivative. Okay, so let me give you an example. Differentiate y is equal to 6x raised to 4 minus 4x raised to 5 plus 25x raised to 3. So yan po yung given example. Ito po yung computation or yung solution. So y prime is equal to, so it's a combination of the power rule, uh, constant multiple rule, and then yung i-apply na po natin yung recent, yung sum or difference rule. So dito po, let's have the first one. You just copy 4 here, the exponent, times the numerical coefficient, which is 6, times x raised to 4, provided that you're going to subtract 1. So 4 minus 1. So sana po nakakasunod. Ulitin ko po. 4 times 6. Yan po, 4 times 6. X raised to 4 minus 1. So that is the first, for the first term. For the second term, 5 times 4. Just copy minus sign. So 5 times 4. Ito po, 5 times 4. X raised to 5. Again, magsusubtract ka po ng 1. Okay, so we're done with the second term. For the third term, just copy plus, and then 3 times, ito po, yung numerical coefficient, which is 25. So 3 times 25, x raised to 3 minus 1. And then simplify. So that is the final answer. 4 times 6, that is 24. Subtract natin yung 4 minus 1, that is 3. Then minus 5 times 4, that is 20. And then 5 minus 1, that is 4. And then 3 times 25, that is 75. X raised to 3 minus 1, that is 2. So that is the derivative of the given function. Let's have the product rule. According to this, the derivative of the product of two functions is the first function times the derivative of the second function, plus the second function times the derivative of the first function. So this is the representation of that. If differentiable functions are represented by u of x and v of x, then the derivative of the product of these two functions, u and v, is equal to u, your first function, times the derivative of your second function, which is dv over dx, plus your second function, which is v, times the derivative of your second function, or the derivative of u. So let's have the example. So using this formula, the product rule, let's differentiate the following. Y is equal to the quantity of 5x plus 6 times the quantity of 3x raised to 4 minus 2. So first, we're going to identify which will be your u and your v. So in this case, or probably, so I will give you now the answer. So that's the answer uh, for this function. So later on, we will check if this answer is really correct. So again, let's go back to this. So sabi ko nga kanina, let's first identify which is your u and which is your v. So in this case, let u be your first function, which is 5x plus 6. And then your v is your second function, which is 3x raised to 4 minus 2. And then dun sa formula, kung titingnan nyo po, you're going to use also the derivative of the first and second functions, which is your u, and the v. So dito pa lang, kunin natin yung derivative ng yung representations or yung u at saka ng v. So let's have the derivative of u. So applying po si constant multiple rule, and for the constant function and sum rule. So this is the derivative of u. So 5x, the derivative of 5x is just simply 5, and 6 is 0. So therefore, it is only 5. So this is for the derivative of u. And for v, so again, the rules that could be applied in this function is the power rule, constant multiple rule, the difference rule. So then, let's proceed to simplification. So let's have the derivative of the first term, 4 times 3. So ito po yun, yung exponent times the numerical coefficient, and then x, just copy x raised to 4, provided that you're going to subtract 1. So that's according to the power rule. Okay, so let's simplify. So 4 times 3, that is 12, and 4 minus 1 for the exponent is 3. So that is the derivative of v. Then, let's proceed to the formula. So we're going to substitute all this information to the given formula. First one. So according to the first representation or the formula, u times dv over dx, or u times the derivative of v with respect to x. So ang u mo doon, dito, u is 5x. So ito po, your u there is 5x plus 6, just copy it. And then times the derivative of v. So ang derivative po ng v is 12x raised to 4. So yun po. So we're done with the first term here. So ito, tapos na po tayo dyan. Let's proceed to plus v. So plus v, ang v po dyan, ang v mo dito, nandito na po sa representation mo, 3x raised to 4 minus 2. So plus, just copy plus, your v is 3x raised to 4 minus 2 times the derivative of u, which is 5. Yan. So we're done with the substitution. Let's simplify. First term. So distribute 12x raised to 4 to this term. So 12x raised to 3 times 5x, that is 6x raised to 4. And 12x raised to 3 times 6, that is 72x raised to 3. Then for the second one, 5 times 3x raised to 4, that is 15x raised to 4. 5 times 2, that is negative 10 or minus 10. And then combine like terms. So ang like terms po dyan lamang ay itong 60x raised to 4 and 15x raised to 4. So let's combine. So the final answer, so the derivative of the given function represented by y prime, it's 75x raised to 4 plus 72x raised to 3 minus 10. So it's the same with this one. Okay, so that's for the